Good afternoon. This is your girl, Evangelist Armstead. Happy to see you. I just want to get through the lesson, the part 2 of opposition. It's not going to be a long lesson. I didn't like how it ended, but it did end on a good note because, as I was stating, the bank had something had went crazy with my bank account, but everything was taken care of. The money was reissued back into my bank account. So I was just talking about AI and all the things that we face in the world today. But I got this part 2 and I'm raring to go. So let's get ready. Opposition number 2, here we come. So I'm in the book of Judges. I'm in the 6th chapter of Judges. And I'm talking about this cool guy named Gideon. Now, most of you all might have heard of the story of Gideon. Gideon had to test God. But Gideon was a warrior. Gideon was a warrior. Although the children of Israel did sin, and every time they sinned, they were pushed into the enemy's hand, and the enemy always triumphed. But when the children of Israel began to cry unto the Lord, he will always deliver them. And that's what God does. He loves his children. We are his jewels. We are his specialty. God is crazy about us, and I'm so glad that he is, because it is not God's will to destroy anyone, but that man and woman will come to repentance. And if you just turn from your wicked ways and acknowledge God, he will forgive you. So let's go over to the book of Judges. Put these glasses on right quick. Like I said, this is not a long lesson, but just to give you a highlight, what God can do. We know he's one of the greatest. Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest. He could sting like a bee and something like a butterfly. But whatever. Muhammad Ali was a good fighter, but here's a man that had a plan because he listened to the voice of God. So anyway, opposition, and we know how sometimes oppositions can turn out. But let's walk with me over into the book of Judges, the 6th chapter. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian. 7 years. Can you imagine? 7 years into the hands of a horrible people who do not like you. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. And because of the Midianites, the children of Israel made them the dens which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. So what they did, Israel was doing evil, and God saw it. And so they were forsaken by God, and they were given over to the Midian, which later on we found out called the Midianites. The Midian, they took them over, and they began to run, and they had to hide in dens and mountains and cages and strongholds to keep that army of men away from them. So and the 3rd verse says, and so it was when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. So they got 2 different tribe of people coming up against them. Because why? They had sinned, and they began to do wicked in the sight of God. So when you do wicked, don't expect God to be with you in wickedness. Now, God will protect us and keep a hedge around us as long as we're doing good, as long as we're acknowledging God. But when we step out of that hedge that God has encamped around us to keep us safe and protected, we put ourselves out there on that land for the enemy. And we know who the enemy is. The enemy is Satan. Satan's desire is to sift us as wheat. And that's what Jesus said to Peter, but he prayed for him. So just before they got to that point that God had to step down and get someone to fight to get them back on track, they had to go through stuff. When we are out there and we think we cute and we doing our thing out there in the world, you know, there are people that's in church that have backslid. They get out there on that territory with Satanists. Satan don't fight fair. He's going to bring all that 7 demons more powerful than the others to take over. And when they come in there, they coming in there with some stuff. They coming in there with smoking some weed, drinking some liquor, bringing these crazy men, crazy women. You're not going to go back out there in the world and think you're going to have it blissfully roses coming out of the ceiling and all this and that. You're going to have some trouble. So this is what happened. They begin to do evil. Israel forsook God, and they got out there on the turf of Satan. And like I said, that army out there don't fight fair. So let's see what else happened. So anyway, like I said, so the children of the east, even they came up against them. So the Amalekites, they came up against them. Now you already got the Midianites. Now you got another tribe of people. And they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth till thou come unto Giza, and left no substance for Israel, neither sheep, nor ox, nor ass. So first of all, you coming in strong. You taking away all their livelihood and the things that they had to work with. You done ran them into the caves, the mountains, and the dens. They don't have nothing now. So they're struggling. And then you got these two sets of people that came up on them. So that, they begin to prevail against them. And so they didn't know what to do. They had to run. For they came up with their cattle in their tents, and they came as grasshoppers. There was so many of them. For multitude, for both they and their camels were without number, and they entered into the land to destroy it. Now, they didn't just come in there to fight them. They came in there to destroy what they had already built up. And Israel was greatly impoverished because of the Midianites. And the children of Israel, then they cried unto the Lord. They begin to cry. They begin to say, look, we need God. We need to go back. We're poor. These people like grasshoppers. They take out cattle. They took out tents. And they coming up on us like grasshoppers. There's so many of them. And they came into the land to destroy it. They didn't come in there to make friends with them. But because they cried, let's see what happened. And it came to pass when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord because of the Midianites, that the Lord sent a prophet unto the children of Israel. God is always doing that. He sends prophets to us. He sends people to warn us. Get your houses in order. Get it together. Let's see what happened. He sent a prophet unto them. Thus said the Lord God of Israel, I brought you up from Egypt and brought you forth out of the house of bondage. And I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the land of all that oppressed you, and drave them out from before you and gave you their land. Now God split the Red Sea. They walked on that dry land. He kept that water back. Now here we go. You would think that everything would be all right. He gave them that land, flowing with milk and honey. And they didn't have to worry about nothing. But then they got over there and started complaining. I tell you, the children of Israel, isn't that just like us? Things will go good for a while, then we get to complaining. Now, this is still opposition, because opposition, remember what we said that word was? It was a word that something to going against. They went against the commandments of God. They didn't no longer feel that they needed them. I guess they got so comfortable and living in that lifestyle. Sometimes we can do that. We have this lifestyle that we want to live, and then we get carried away. It's okay to have nice things. Again, and I'm going to say it again, I like nice things too. I do. I like nice things, but I can't forget God. I cannot forget God. You got to remember your maker. For he is the creator, the one who gave you, who allowed you to have the nice job, to have the nice car, to have the nice home. If you get a Tesla or whatever you deem a good car is, BMW, there's so many nice cars out here. It's I think the Jaguar, I saw the new Jaguar is nice. The Lexus, I've seen the nice ones. Lincoln's SUV. I mean, I've seen some nice cars, and I'm sure there's some nicer cars than that. I seen this lady, I asked her, I was looking at her Tesla, how she opened that thing. It opens itself. But I mean, come on, there's nothing wrong with having a nice home, nice furniture in your home, decent food, a good job. But when you forget God and you just get carried away, sometimes you open the door for things to come in on you. So let's see where I'm at right now. We do know that they cried because all these people came up on them like grasshoppers. There was more than, I mean, they just came in and they destroyed their land. But God heard them. And it came to pass when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord because of the Midianites, that the Lord sent a prophet. We know about the prophet unto the children of Israel, which said unto them, Thus said the Lord God of Israel, I brought you up from Egypt and brought you forth out of the house of bondage. And I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of all that oppressed you, all that oppressed them, and drave them out from before you and gave you their land. Drave here is probably the same as drove. So God did, the heathen came up upon them and they oppressed them. And then he said, And I said unto you, I am the Lord your God. Fear not the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell, but ye have not obeyed my voice. That's what happened. They didn't obey. They just wanted to do what they want. So, and there came an angel of the Lord and sat under the oak, which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and the son of Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. So here was Gideon. His father's name was Joash. Looks like that's what it means. That's what it's saying. So Gideon was the son of Joash, and he was threshing wheat. He threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. So here they had a little wine press. They was hiding, and they were trying to do the wheat. They were just hiding out. You know how you hide out. And so, but an angel, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him. Wow, he actually saw an angel, and it appeared unto Gideon. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. So, and Gideon said unto him, Oh, my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? So Gideon asked the question, okay, so if God is with us, why is all this going on around us? We got a lot of things happening. We got the Midianites after us, the Ammonites after us, Emmanuelites, or however it's pronounced. And we just, you talking about God is with us? We're poor. We don't hardly have nothing to eat. I'm hiding back here trying to get this wheat going so we can have something to eat. And Gideon didn't understand this. And first of all, he didn't even know he was talking to an angel of the Lord. But Gideon could proceed on to talk to him. He wanted to know, why is all this befalling us? And where be all his miracles? Gideon heard about the miracles, as we have heard in our life and time about miracles. God working miracles for you. He open up the sea, put him in the back to stay, and all this stuff. Let him work a miracle for you if you believe. Miracles, miracles, miracles. Gideon probably knew that song too. He wanted to know, well, if all this is happening to us, I've heard about all these miracles where our fathers told us. Come on now. Did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord hath forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. And the Lord looked upon him. Wow. And said, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? And he said unto him, Oh, my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? So he wanted to know now, how can I save Israel? He said, Behold, Gideon said, Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least of my father's house. I'm the least. And the Lord said unto him, Surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. Wow. He's giving them encouragement. But Gideon would have excuses. He said, How can I do this? You're talking to a poor man. I'm back here. I'm trying to get this wheat together to get us something to eat. And I'm the least of the family. My family is, they don't look at me as being able to save Israel. How can I do that? Wow. But the angel of the Lord continued to talk to him. And the Lord said unto him, Surely I will be with thee. So I'm going to be with you. So a divine presence is talking to him. And Gideon still feels that he can't do this. And he said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. So now Gideon wants a sign. He wants a sign. And this title should have been Gideon and the Fleece. That's what the title should have been. But I didn't give you a title, but I'm giving you a title now. So then he said, okay, show me a sign that thou talkest with me. He began to doubt. Gideon, he was a sign seeker. He needed a sign. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people have faith and some people don't. So Gideon needed a sign. He wanted to make sure. I guess it was so much going on back in those days and times. I probably would have asked for a sign too. And then he said, depart not hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee and bring forth my present and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. So Gideon asked the angel to stay put till he come back. That's what Gideon said. So the angel confirmed with Gideon that he will stay and tarry and wait. So and Gideon went in and made ready a kid, 11 cakes of an ephah of flour. The flesh he put in a basket, and he put the broth in a pot and brought it out unto him under the oak and presented it. And the angel of God said unto him, take the flesh and the 11 cakes and lay them upon the rock and pour out the broth. And he did so. So the angel gave him some instructions once he came back with this ephah of flour and a kid, which probably was a little goat or something, some flesh. And then he presented it to the angel. So the angel told him to put it on that rock. And he laid it upon this rock and pour the broth. And he poured out the broth. And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand and touched the flesh. He just touched it. And the unleavened cakes, and there rose up fire out of the rock and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the angel of the Lord departed out of his sight. Wow, can you imagine that? Answers by fire. He took his staff, he just touched it, and it went up. And fire came out. And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of the Lord, Gideon said, alas, O Lord God, for because I have seen an angel of the Lord face to face. And the Lord said unto him, peace be unto thee. Because Gideon thought he was going to die. Fear not, thou shalt not die. Boy, Gideon thought he was going to die because, they said you can't look upon God and live. But the Lord said unto him, peace be unto thee. Fear not, thou shalt not die. Wow. I don't know what I would have said if I saw an angel. I don't know. I've probably been afraid too. Then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord and called it Jehovah Shalom. Unto this day it is yet an Ophrah of the Gibeonites. I can't pronounce these words. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal. Because see, back then they was worshiping Baal. They were worshiping Baal. So Gideon was given an assignment. Again, he knew now that this really was God. So he was given an assignment. So Gideon went out. I'm kind of paraphrasing it. And he built a 26th verse says, let me make sure I'm on the right page. Yep. I'm on still in the chapter 6, and I'm on the 26th verse. Okay, so the angel did give him some instructions. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old. Had to be a certain, when God gives instructions, he gives precise instructions. So we need to listen to those instructions. And so it had to be a bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that is by it, and build an altar unto the Lord thy God upon the top of this rock in the ordered place, and take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove. So, like I said, Gideon had to be obedient. And he did what he told him to do, and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove, which thou shalt cut down. So back then a grove was some type of garden or tree or something with, so it had a lot of things in there that they had to cut down. So Gideon had to cut this stuff down, and he had to be obedient, and he had to tear down Baal. And those people weren't going to be happy about this. So he did what he was told to do. Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day. He didn't want to do it by day because he did fear the household of his fathers, that he did it by night. But one thing, he did do it. He might have been afraid, but he waited, just like Nicodemus. Nicodemus came at night too. He didn't want people to see him. So here Gideon came by night and did what was told him by the angel. And when the men of the city arose in the early morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it, and the second block was offered upon the altar that was built. And they said one to another, Who hath done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, have done this thing. Then the men of the city said unto Joash, Bring out thy son, that he may die, because he has cast down the altar of Baal, and because he hath cut down the grove that was by it. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, Will ye plead for Baal? Will ye plead for Baal? A thing that can't do nothing for you. Will ye save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death, whilst it is yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one hath cut down his altar. Therefore on that day he called him Jerubbaal, saying, Let Baal plead against him, because he hath thrown down his altar. Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Ebenezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher and unto Zebulun, and said unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet them. Wow, isn't that something? You know, but I'm going to tell you something else. Gideon also, he did many things before he had to fight this army. But he fought them. He trusted in God. And I'm going to do some skipping. I'm going to go over to the last chapter, because I want to kind of speed it up. Valor means great courage. Valor. He called them, the angel said, You mighty men of valor, which means great courage in the face of danger, especially in a battle. Danger, the possibility of suffering harm or energy. Who wants to get hurt? So yes, Gideon did ask questions, but Gideon in Hebrew means one who cuts down. So he did cut down the grove of Baal. So he became Jerubbaal. He was a contender with Baal. He began to feel the strength. And this story is a beautiful story, because even in Judges 7:1, then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that was with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the hosts of the Midianites were on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh in the valley. So I want to kind of give you all what happened. God had told Gideon, because Gideon had a lot of men. He said, You got too many men. He said, Let's narrow it down. Send some of them home. And some of them were sent home. And so they were sent home. And when they boiled down, Gideon and his men, it was only 300 men, they beat. They fought the opposition. They won. In life, think about this. Sometimes it's a lot of people up against you. I have been in them shoes myself. It might not have been 300. It might not have been 10,000, but trust me, it was some evildoers. And I have learned, God have taught me, stand still and see the salvation of God. Just stand still, because God, he said it, he's with us. God is with us. He's more than those that are against us. If we stand still and trust God, God will fight our battles. We have heard it before. We have heard it. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Gideon took men that lapped the water like dogs, 300, and they came with the trumpets. They blew the trumpets. They had the lanterns. They made the noise. They had the pitcher. And they broke it. They blew horns, and they just made noise until the army couldn't take no more. They ran. Some of them fell on their sword and killed their own selves. So I just want to say opposition. What is opposition? When you got God, he's more for you than they that are against you. So I might want to end this note. It's like a love letter, because I do write my stuff down. But I want to end this little story on put your trust in God. Put your trust in God. Put your trust in God, because he's with you. Sometimes it feels like you're all alone. You know, that's not a good feeling. But you know, I'm learning, and I know you're learning. We got to trust God. We got to trust God. Come on, y'all, let's trust him. How many times have you been by yourself out late at night? And I was caught recently in rain. I mean, it rained so hard this week, and I parked my car in one place, and I thought the store was open because it told me it was going to open on Google. When I Googled it, it said it closed at 9, but the store closed at 8. And I came out of the mall, and I had to walk. But I was trusting God. I said, God, you with me? I looked down one way because I had to go back and get my car, and I couldn't go back through the mall because security said, how did you even get in here? I said, well, I didn't walk through the wall. I didn't come through the glass. I wasn't invisible. And one security guy laughed because it was true. The door was open, but I couldn't go back through that same door, so I had to go back out one door to get to another store, but those stores closed. I guess they're doing their own thing, have their own time. They're going to close, not abiding by what they're advertising. But I'm pretty sure that the person that owned that company probably do not know they're closing that store that early. But nevertheless, I had to walk to my car with no umbrella. I had a coat on. I had put it across my head, and it was dark, and cars was coming, water was splashing. And I just thank God I didn't even catch a cold. I know God was with me. I believe he was with me. Don't think I wasn't afraid. Yes, I was. I'm a female by myself, you know, but I wasn't walking out there looking cute or anything. I pushed the hair up, put the hood on my head. I put the coat up there. I was just like, I had on my black pants, so I was doing some walking. I looked down one street. Someone said, maybe you can take a shortcut down the way. Someone said, no. So I trusted the voice of God. I kept on till I got to safety. Opposition. Who knows what was around that corner? If I had made that turn, a left turn, that the Spirit of God said, no, keep walking straight. We have to listen to the voice of God. When opposition comes upon us, don't trust in your might and your strength. Trust in your knees and pray. Pray, my sister. Pray, my brother. This has been the end of opposition 2. There's so many stories. But trust God. Listen to his voice. It's like a tiny little voice. You can't miss it. Just put your trust in God. This has been Evangelist Armstead. Thank you for listening. Hope you got a lot out of it. There's more to the story of Gideon and the 300 men. Read it for yourself. God bless you all. Have a great day. Have a great week. I love you, and so does Jesus. Bye-bye.